Near 60 with a north wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, chilly weather, mostly clear, a low around 34. There could be some patchy frost by morning. High temperature on your
Hey, good
Saturday,
morning and welcome to the Greg
61 with
Belfrage
a
Show.
south breeze
I am
20. Warmer on
scampering
Sunday,
more
high
than usual
67.
this morning.
From the Storm
One of
Center,
our
I'm Timberland
stations was off
TV.
the
I'm
air,
Brian
so running
Stiles.
around here. So let's get
News as it
going.
unfolds and your chance to talk about it. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9 and Kello.com. The Doctor of Discernment is on the air.
I love the Greg Belfrage Show.
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little taller on radio.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense, no prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in a no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show, Friday, October 25th. Great to have you along this morning. So we've got Donald Trump and Kamala Harris both out on the campaign trail. Trump, let's start with him. He traveled to Las Vegas, and he was at a rally last night. And he said that the Harris campaign is imploding. He said Harris is actually imploding if you take a look. Because, look, I'm not supposed to say it, but we are leading by so much, Trump said. Now we're leading by a lot in Nevada. We're leading by a lot in Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Even not, I want to offer a caveat here. Trump says this all the time. We're leading by a lot. Trump has always said that. That's just what he's seeing in terms of the numbers. What we're seeing, leading by a lot. Yeah, he's leading by a lot. We'll see. But this is typical Trump. So Trump, he said the fact is that states, other states too, big states, are all in play, and they like us. But you know what? They think she is grossly incompetent. Let's face it, she is not doing well, Trump said. So those were among the comments Trump made. And then he went back to some of the promises and reiterated those again that he has already made. He said, when I said no tax on tips, remember? A month later, she comes out, we will have no tax on tips. She never said that. She's never said it again. You're not going to get it, Trump said. We're going to have no tax on tips. And she wanted to increase and did increase the so-called tip allocation tax rate by 60%. She raised your tax, and then she's supposed to say, no tax on tips. In other words, even after Kamala wrecked your economy with inflation, she came after you with tip income. Sort of like a vulture would do. He said, if she gets 4 more years, Kamala Harris will pick your pockets bare, Trump told the crowd. And then he talked about this at length, talking about eliminating taxes on tips, overtime, Social Security benefits. Took a poll during the rally asking supporters to cheer for which of the 3 tax cut plans they liked the best. And the Trump said the support for no tax on Social Security benefits received the most support. That was the largest reaction. At least that's what Trump discerned. So this was during the Donald Trump rally. And again, this was in Las Vegas last night. It was a rally sponsored by Turning Point Action. Now, Kamala Harris is out there as well. And she brought out some big names, including Bruce Springsteen, to back her campaign. So, and this is pretty amazing. Have you heard this? Fox News is reporting this morning. 30 million votes already cast. So 30 million votes have already been cast. And so we're less than 2 weeks now from Election Day. And Springsteen addressed the crowd. He described Trump as a tyrant, shared why he's supporting Harris. He said, I want a president who reveres the Constitution, who does not threaten but wants to protect and guide our great democracy, who believes in the rule of law and the peaceful transfer of power, who will fight for a woman's right to choose, and who wants to create a middle-class economy that will serve all our citizens. Springsteen said, there's only one candidate in this election who holds these principles dear, Kamala Harris, he said. So Springsteen was joined by a number of others. Barack Obama was there again, and then he had Samuel L. Jackson, Spike Lee, Tyler Perry were there. And Harris said, we have an opportunity before us to turn the page on the fear and divisiveness that have characterized our politics for a decade. Has anybody told Hillary Clinton that? Because I'm going to be talking about her in a moment. The divisiveness that's out there. You know, Donald Trump's just out there and he's speaking softly and just amazing the way he's presented. So she said, this is Kamala Harris, we have the opportunity to chart a new way and joyful way forward. There it is again. A joy. So Trump actually spoke at a couple of rallies yesterday, one in Arizona, the other one I told you about in Nevada. So he was at Arizona State University, and there he focused his attention on the border and immigration. Trump said she's eradicated our sovereign border. And she has unleashed an army of migrant gangs who are waging a campaign of violence and terror against our citizens. My message today is very simple. Kamala's migrant invasion given to us through gross incompetence disqualifies her from even thinking about being president. We can't let that happen, he said. So then when he was in Las Vegas, he said, under the Trump administration, we're going to build an economy that lifts up all Americans, including African Americans, Hispanic Americans, also members of our great Asian American and Pacific Islander community, many of whom are here today. He's been getting just widespread support from those groups he just mentioned there. They have been out, and so that's a big story this morning. Both of them holding rallies as the drawdown to election day. We're getting very close now. Hillary Clinton said that Trump's upcoming rally in Madison Square Garden would be like when Nazis lined up there in 1939. And this was, she told CNN's Caitlin Collins last night. She said, one other thing that you'll see next week, Caitlin, is Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book. President Franklin Roosevelt was appalled that neo-Nazis, fascists in America were lining up to essentially pledge their support for the kind of government they were seeing in Germany. So I don't think we can ignore it, she says. So here's Hillary Clinton. And again, the comparisons to fascist, and it's just, wow. It is absolutely amazing. That's all the left has got. This is all Democrats have got right now, trying to scare the hell out of everybody. She said, now, this is Hillary Clinton. She said, now it may be a leap for some people, and a lot of others may think, I don't want to go there. I don't want to say that. But please open your eyes to the danger that this man poses to our country, because I think it is clear and present for anybody paying attention. Wow. Yeah, you thought it couldn't get worse. It's getting worse. So the New York Post has endorsed Donald Trump, and this is that's the big story this morning at the New York Post. Donald Trump, the clear choice for a better future. So this was released at midnight, and they said among the reasons that the New York Times used: a secure border, a sensible immigration system, safer cities, support for law and order, a thriving low tax and low regulation economy for everybody, fueled by an energy policy that supports, not penalizes, industry and households, common sense policies that restore the power of parents to choose what's best for their children on school choice, gender surgery, trans athletes playing in female sports, an America that's respected on the world stage, feared by our enemies, and trusted by our allies. So this was penned by the editorial board at the New York Post, making the case that America was better off in the 4 years during the Trump presidency than it has been under Harris Biden, and citing all of these, the economy, talking about employment, the border, so on. J.D. Vance was at a town hall yesterday, and he asked citizens, he asked you and me, not to let our political beliefs affect our relationships. And this is, did you catch this? Vance said, because I think this is very important. At least I find it to be so. Vance said, he said, one final point I'll say about this. Don't get too personal all the time. One of the things I've seen, especially from some of my wife's friends and some of my friends, is they disagree with us on politics. Sometimes they'll get very personal about it, he said. If you're discarding a lifelong friendship because somebody votes for the other team, then you've made a terrible, terrible mistake, and you should do something different. Don't cast aside. He said, most of my family obviously is going to vote for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. And if they're not, actually, I need to talk to them, he said. But I've got friends who like me personally, acquaintances who aren't necessarily going to vote for me. That doesn't make them bad people, he said. And you can't, this is my important advice. Whether you vote for me, whether you vote for Donald Trump, whether you vote for Kamala Harris, don't cast aside family members and lifelong friendships. Politics is not worth it. And I think if we follow this principle, we heal the divide in this country. I thought those were really kind of insightful comments. I appreciate what he's saying there about not throwing lifelong relationships, friendships, family relationships, not casting those aside because we disagree on, on the direction of the country and who we're going to be voting for. Yeah, now that I find to be very uplifting. Also, the John Kelly story continues. Chief of Staff John Kelly, Politico's got a story this morning. Former Donald Trump aides emerge to back John Kelly's harsh warnings about Trump. It's a new letter shared exclusively with Politico, written by a bunch of people I bet you never heard of. Seriously, I went through their names. I'm looking at, and one or two I recognize, but most of them, you're like, you never heard of them. These are not cabinet level people who have been in the White House. So Politico's trying to give more life to that story. Other stories that are out there, Elon Musk has, he's still moving ahead with donations. He has put $44 million in October into a super PAC that's working to send Donald Trump back to the White House. So his total donations then to the group he established rises to $119 million, according to new campaign finance reports. So this is a report from CNN. The last minute burst of spending by the world's richest man comes as Trump's Democratic rival, Kamala Harris, continues to lead Trump then in fundraising. She's bringing in about $97 million. Which she has. She's been bringing in an incredible amount of money, but whoever fundraises the most doesn't necessarily win the election. I think that's something I've been saying that to you for a long time, that despite, who is out there leading in terms of fundraising, it doesn't mean that the vote necessarily would go that way. It just means the money is going that way. And Kamala Harris has spent a lot of money, and as of yet, I have not changed my opinion at all. So, other stories that are out there this morning. President Joe Biden will formally apologize to Native Americans. And he will do this coming up today. And the president spoke to reporters yesterday about this. He said, I'm heading to do something that should have been done a long time ago, make a formal apology to the Indian nations for the way we treated their children for so many years, he said. So the federal government had established Indian boarding schools from 1819 through the 1970s that forcibly removed children from their homes and their families. And there has been we've learned a lot about this, I think. And the schools then trying to assimilate these Native American students would not allow them, they were trying to assimilate them into white, culture. And the heritage is really, really important to the Native American community. So the president saying that today he will formally apologize for I think it was 150 years of boarding school policy that the United States had employed. Also, there was a story that I saw this yesterday that was just shocking to me at the New York Post. I shared this during the 4th hour, which you can find at kello.com. You can also, if you are a subscriber of mine on YouTube or Facebook, you'll find it there as well. But this is an opinion piece at the New York Post saying that hundreds of thousands of migrants are being held in southern Mexico until election day. And they apparently are quite eager to rush the border on election day. And there are photos of migrant caravans then from October 20th And we're seeing a repeat of some of the things that we've seen before. And what's different here is that we've got administration, officials of the administration, the current administration, who have gone down to Mexico to hold those people there until after the election. Because it would be a bad look for Kamala Harris if you suddenly then have all of these people coming into the country just prior to the election. Well, we can't allow that to happen. So you've got administration officials who are down in Mexico keeping folks there and working with them to wait until afterwards and then to come into the United States. You'll find that story at the New York Post. And I shared it yesterday during the fourth hour. That's just like mind-boggling. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Hey, thanks so much for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along. This hour is brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
528 Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tire. Convenience store details about how to get rebates from major tire manufacturers. 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
There is an amendment on the ballot that would change South Dakota's abortion law. Amendment G claims it corrects mistakes in current law. But Amendment G is
One of our stations was off the air earlier. I just wanted to make sure it was back on.
Without parents' consent. It gives teachers the ability to advise students on abortion, again, without parents' consent, and opens the door to painful...
We've got 5 stations under our roof.
But Amendment G is not the answer.
And there is a really annoying alarm that goes off, which I appreciate when it's Kilauea. But there's really annoying alarm that goes off to let us know that one of the stations, after a certain amount of time, the silent sense goes off. Lets us know that there's an issue. So apparently it's been corrected.
When it's time for your next bed, rest assured that you can trust Comfort King. Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices. Just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved.
I'm just living sky high right now. I'm very thankful for it. The team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-200-6895. 800-200-6895.
Partly cloudy skies today, a nice autumn afternoon. Our high temperature close to 60 with a light north wind at 5 to 10. For tonight, a little chilly, lows here in the low 30s. And then for your Saturday, we'll pick up a southerly wind 10 to 20, high temperature at 61. A little warmer on Sunday, high 67. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm Nero.
And currently in Sioux Falls, clear skies and 38 at Kello. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center. Coming up, the latest polling numbers have voters nearly neck and neck on Amendment G. That's the proposal to legalize abortion in South Dakota. Also, the election fight over carbon capture pipelines in South Dakota features a well-financed, highly visible campaign. A lot of grassroots and word-of-mouth efforts going on regarding that. So Joe will have details on those stories coming up for you here in just a few moments. Fox News Radio just ahead. Also, Kello has got your chance to win 2 tickets to Mannheim Steamroller Christmas. Mannheim Steamroller bringing their Christmas celebration Tuesday, November 12th to the Washington Pavilion. And we've got 5 pair of tickets. All you have to do is comment on the, I put up a Mannheim Steamroller post, pinned it to the top of my page at Facebook. All you've got to do is leave a comment. We'll draw winners at 9 a.m. today.
Fox News, Therese Crowley. This Guns for Hire. Kamala Harris bringing on the big guns in the 11-day sprint to Election Day.
Just about starving to death.
Bruce Springsteen at her Georgia rally with a promise of Beyonce at a rally in Houston. Harris is downplaying a yawning gender gap, finding just in Michigan up 20 points on women, but down 16 on men. Donald Trump hammering Harris on the border in Arizona and Las Vegas rallies.
We will stop all illegal immigration once and for all, and at once. We will stop it immediately. We will not be occupied. We will not be conquered. We will be a free and proud nation.
RFK Jr. with an appeal to Catholics to vote Trump, saying, we have to find a way to love our children more than we hate each other. America is listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. The latest polling numbers have voters nearly neck and neck on Amendment G. That's the proposal to legalize abortion in South Dakota. A poll by KELLOLAND Media Group, Emerson College, and The Hill shows 48% are opposed, 45% are in favor, with 7% undecided still up for grabs. A spokesperson for Vote No on Amendment G says the poll shows voters are learning how extreme the amendment is. A Vote Yes on Amendment G spokesperson said the poll reflects how much money opponents have spent on advertising. It will all come down to the vote November 5th. The election fight over carbon capture pipelines in South Dakota features a well-financed, highly visible campaign versus an effective grassroots, word-of-mouth effort. Ethanol producers say they need the pipelines to remain competitive. They've contributed over $2 million to the effort to support Referred Law 21, the so-called Landowner Bill of Rights law passed by this year's legislature. Pipeline opponent Ed Fishbach says opponents have raised about $30,000. Still, they're optimistic about defeating RL 21.
From all the feedback we're getting, we do feel pretty good about it in spite of this. We are working night and day. We have people that are pounding the pavement, going door to door. They're dropping leaflets. We are doing phoning, and the feedback we're getting is very positive.
Supporters say they believe the pipeline will be built, even if RL 21 is defeated. In college football, the Jackrabbits and the Coyotes face off in Brookings tomorrow. South Dakota State looks to rebound from last week's loss to now number 1 ranked North Dakota State, while South Dakota is in the zone with a 5-game winning streak. The game kicks off Saturday night at 6:30 and will be broadcast live on ESPNU. And in women's volleyball, number 3 South Dakota Coyotes picked up another win last night, crushing number 1 Denver Pioneers 3-1. The Oats hit the road to face Kansas City tomorrow at 1 p.m. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
News brought to you by Sioux Falls Implant and Sedation Dentistry. They fix your teeth while you sleep.
Partly cloudy skies today and a high temperature near 60 with a north wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, chilly weather, mostly clear, a low around 34. There could be some patchy frost by morning. High temperature on your Saturday, close to 61 with a south breeze at 10 to 20. Warmer on Sunday, high 67. From the Storm Center at KELLOLAND TV, I'm Brian Karstens.
Whether it's close to home or halfway around the world, we've got you covered. Kello News Talk 1320, 107.9, and Kello.com.
Hard to believe, but Christmas Day is exactly 2 months from today. This marks our 3rd Christmas with access to ChatGPT and AI chatbots. Now that they've been around for a while, would you trust Santa's list to a chatbot? I'm Kim Commando for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Accelerate your AI workload today. Take a free test drive at oracle.com/Kim. A lot of people well this year. I'll tell you how many in a moment. But the first question to ask is, how ever could an AI chatbot actually pick the perfect gift for each recipient? It can't. It's not advanced enough to actually know that. But what it can do is help find the best prices on the things you're shopping for. It can navigate the flood of pre-Christmas and Black Friday sales. Just type in the item and its model number, AI will scan the sites, summarize prices, reviews, and suggest similar products. This will be a real time saver. And oh, yeah, about a third of this year's shoppers are doing exactly that. Be sure to get my free newsletter. Sign up at getkim.com. AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing. And of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed at less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/Kim. That's oracle.com/Kim, oracle.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320, 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tires, your Give You More tire and automotive store. Financing programs available. 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
Leaves are falling. Get your gutters cleaned and replace this fall and get ahead of the predicted wet, heavy snow with ABC Seamless. Voted local best 20 years in a row. They like to thank Sioux Falls. Call today.
ABC Seamless. Midwest Hyperbarics is now open. Experience the healing power of pure oxygen, proven effective as a treatment for the effects of acute brain injury, the healing of diabetic foot ulcers, and more. Go to MidwestHyperbarics.com to learn more. Pure oxygen, perfect pressure, better you.
Referred Law 21 is on the ballot this November. But what's in it for South Dakotans? Voting yes on RL 21 will help create more than 4,000 good-paying jobs here in South Dakota, generating $3.2 billion in economic activity for our state. Referred Law 21 will deliver tens of millions in new income every year to our counties, especially rural counties, generating revenue for public schools, K-12 education, healthcare, EMS, and law enforcement. The new revenue RL 21 generates will help lower tax burdens, and Referred Law 21 contains a landowner bill of rights with strong new protections that give future generations a say in how our land is used. That's why RL 21 is supported by the South Dakota Chamber of Commerce and Industry, our farmers, landowners, and agriculture. Vote yes on Referred Law 21. Learn more at yesonrl21.com. Paid for by Vote Yes for a strong South Dakota.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
With Cybersecurity Awareness Month winding down, LifeLock wants to remind you to update your software. These updates are used to patch up security issues that identity thieves can exploit to gain access to your personal info. But for comprehensive identity theft protection, there's LifeLock. LifeLock alerts you to more uses of your personal info and fixes identity theft issues that arise. Start your 30-day free trial at lifelock.com. Use my name as your promo code, PLAY.
Are you a creative thinker with a passion for radio? We're looking for a part-time producer to join the Greg Belfrage Show team. I'll rely on you to screen phone calls and help me get the best out of our callers. Candidates need some digital skills. This is a 25-hour-a-week part-time position. Send your resume to kellojobs@mwcradio.com or mail it to KELO AM, 500 South Phillips Avenue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 57104. Midwest Communications is an equal opportunity employer by choice. It's about 20 minutes before 7. Clear skies and 38s. Good morning to you. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along. This hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Trending stories this morning. Donald Trump where was he? Oh, Tempe, Arizona. Excuse me. My apologies. Trump was at a campaign rally in Tempe, Arizona yesterday, and he's talking about Kamala Harris. And he said when she came in, she deliberately dismantled our border and threw open the gates to an invasion of criminal migrants from prisons and jails, from insane asylums and mental institutions from all over the world, Trump said. We're a dumping ground. We're like a garbage can for the world, he said. And then he said that's the first time he had ever used that phrase. And it's trending this morning. Trump said Kamala's migrant invasion given to us through gross incompetence disqualifies her from even thinking about being president. Well, Kamala Harris is also out conducting rallies, and Beyonce is expected to appear at a rally for Kamala Harris today in Houston. So Beyonce, that's her hometown, Houston. She'll be at a rally there for Kamala Harris. Bruce Springsteen and others then were supporting Kamala Harris yesterday. That's a big story this morning. Also, Donald Trump says that he's open to the idea of pardoning Hunter Biden. So he was asked the question yesterday morning, what would he do? Would he pardon Hunter Biden? And Trump said, I wouldn't take it off the books. See, unlike Joe Biden, despite what they've done to me, where they've gone after me so viciously, despite that, and Hunter's a bad boy, there's no question about it. He's been a bad boy. All you had to do is see the laptop from hell, Trump said. But he said that Hunter Biden's legal troubles aren't good for the country. And he said he could have easily gone after Hillary Clinton when he was president. And remember, then he had crowds at the time chanting, lock her up, so on. But Trump says, I happen to think it's very bad for our country. I think you know this, but most people don't, because most people aren't of your talent. This was an interview with Hugh Hewitt. He said, I could have gone after Hillary. I could have gotten Hillary Clinton very easily. And when they say lock her up, you'd have thousands of people then, tens of thousands of people chanting this. He said, what did I do? I always say, take it easy. Just relax. We're winning. Take it easy. I could have had her put in jail, and I decided I didn't want to do that. I thought it would look terrible, Trump said. And he said at the time he didn't know that they would play dirty with me when it came to his multiple impeachments and these, the cases involving Jack Smith. And he said of Smith, he's a scoundrel. He's a very dishonest man, in my opinion, very dishonest man and a mean man. He's a mean man, but his problem is he's so mean that he always goes too far, like the raid of Mar-a-Lago, he said. And so then Hewitt asked him, well, would you fire Jack Smith? In 2 seconds, Trump said. I hope Jack Smith will be in a long list of people who will be asked to leave the employment of the federal government. Also, other stories trending this morning. Several battleground states setting turnout records. Got 25, 30 million Americans now who have already cast their ballot. Pretty incredible. So They've already voted either through in-person early voting or mail-in ballots, according to tracking data at the University of Florida. Several states, including the battlegrounds of North Carolina and Georgia, set records on their respective first days, and I've told you about this. It's just been absolutely incredible. And Trump's reacting to that, saying the votes in every state, frankly, are at record levels. We're doing really well. Hopefully, we can fix our country. While we're talking about what's going on at the ballots and who will win, I think a lot of us, that's where our minds are at these days. Nate Silver, who is a veteran pollster, said on Tuesday this week he had a piece that he had written. It was an op-ed at the New York Times. And he said his gut feeling is that Donald Trump will win the election. And then he was very careful to say, you know, a lot of people have been asking him, what's your gut say? He said, my gut says Donald Trump. And my guess is that's true for many anxious Democrats. But then he said, but if the polls are 50-50, it's 50-50. It could go either way. We just don't know. But if you're going to push, you say, what does my gut say? His gut tells him Trump is going to win. Also, there's a new poll that shows Donald Trump and Kamala Harris on the lower end of the favorable scale, according to Gallup. So they're using a 10-point favorability rating. And Wall Street Journal is also doing polling, finding Trump leading Harris 47 to 45%. So again, 50-50. I mean, that's what's huge. Also, the first 911 calls from the assassination attempt on Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, were released publicly this week. So multiple news outlets had sued Butler County to release the audio of the 911 calls. One female caller said, we're at the Trump assembly and there's a guy shooting. He's been shooting up the place. Another female called gunshots at the Trump rally. So those 911 calls have been released. Also, a federal judge this week ordered the U.S. Army to release records related to Trump's visit to Arlington National Cemetery. Remember this in August? There was a confrontation between an Arlington official and the Trump campaign. We've been told, not involving Trump, but in a photographer of Trump's. And so now the judge is wanting the records regarding that released. Also, the Los Angeles Times, and I mentioned this to you yesterday, Los Angeles Times has refused to endorse a presidential candidate this year. And because of this, there's a meltdown of staff and readers who are canceling their subscriptions, and the whole thing has just gone nuts. So what's the latest on this? Well, the boss at the Los Angeles Times is saying that editors were asked to come up with a fair analysis of both Trump and Kamala Harris, and they didn't want to do that. They just wanted to endorse Kamala Harris. And so they didn't want to present a fair analysis, and that's why the owner stepped in and said, no, we're not going to run that the piece. So this is they're now saying, again, this is ownership of the Los Angeles Times, saying the editorial board was provided the opportunity to draft a factual analysis of all the positive and negative policies by each candidate during their tenures at the White House and how these policies affected the nation, he says. The board was asked to provide their understanding of the policies and plans enunciated by the candidates during this campaign and the potential effect on the country in the next 4 years. And he said, in this way, with this clear and nonpartisan information side by side, our readers could decide who would be worthy of being president for the next 4 years. Well, instead of adopting this path, the editorial board chose to remain silent. And again, there's some are leaving. I think the editorial editor immediately left. Now readers are threatening to unsubscribe from the newspaper after he ordered the editorial board not to endorse a political candidate. Again, what he wanted to is lay out the facts for readers and allow them to make their own conclusions, right? You come up with pros and cons and positives and negatives of for both, and you put them out there and you say, okay, here you go, you decide. It's what the media used to do years ago. I mean, that was the idea, is that you would have a media that would do something along those lines. So it's hardly a surprise that there's a meltdown then at the Los Angeles Times and among readers who are, they're not looking for fairness. A lot of people are not, unfortunately. Also, Eric and Lyle Menendez are back in the news, and the Los Angeles District Attorney is recommending that they be resentenced. Remember Eric and Lyle Menendez, convicted for killing their parents back in 1989. So the recommendation then will be presented to a judge, and then the brothers who are serving life sentences would be eligible for parole, possibly. Also, the mayor of Waukesha, Wisconsin, says he'll be voting for Kamala Harris this election. And he was asked about this. He said he voted third party in 2016, voted for Joe Biden in 2020, but didn't make those decisions public. But this year he is. And he told Fox 6 in Milwaukee, he said, it's a vote against Trump. I am terrified of Donald Trump becoming our next president for all the reasons I've indicated. He's already been impeached twice. He's been convicted of felonies, and this is not what the United States needs. So he left the Republican Party back in 2021 and said he was he's prepared for repercussions when going public with his support of Harris. There's going to be a lot of people who are not happy with what I say, and there will be a lot of people who are happy with what I have to say. But when you're in this job, that's your daily life anyways, he said. Also, Kamala Harris' husband, Doug Emhoff, his former girlfriend, Emhoff's now former girlfriend, telling her story to the Daily Mail, and she's claiming that he slapped her in the face so hard, she spun around. This was during an event in France back in 2012. The woman has remained anonymous, but it's known that she is a successful New York attorney, and she decided to speak out after Emhoff denied the claims. And she's out there sharing them again. And she's also saying that his hypocrisy by claiming to be a feminist in media interviews just was too much for her. And that's why she's out there and speaking and sharing her side of the story. Other stories that are trending this morning. This is just one of those stories you just, I don't like sharing them. It's really uncomfortable. It's a 19-year-old woman in Canada who was found dead on Saturday inside a Walmart bakery's walk-in oven. So the details surrounding the death are limited, which is okay with me. But the woman was an employee of the store. She was located in a large walk-in oven belonging to the store's bakery. And there are multiple agencies involved in the probe, according to police. And they said they've not yet reached a point where they know the cause and the manner of death. But she was found. Yeah, we don't want to assume that she was burned in the oven, but that's where she was located. Also, a lot of condolences are pouring in after the death of a Kentucky state senator, Johnny Turner. Have you heard about this? He suffered injuries in a lawnmower accident. And I thought, how are you killed in a lawnmower accident? He drove the lawnmower into an empty swimming pool, which and it killed him. He was taken to the hospital and he passed away there. So the family said over the past weeks, his remarkable resolve and strength filled the entire family with optimism, making this loss all the more difficult to hear. Also, Susan Smith, you'll remember her. She is the woman who drowned her two young sons back in 1994. She's from South Carolina. And she now she's got a parole hearing coming up November 20th. And she doesn't believe she's likely to be paroled. This is according to a relative of Susan Smith's, who's saying she's inconsolable. She was so close to getting out, and now it seems to be collapsing in front of her very eyes. She has derailed it herself. She's not happy at all. And the reason being that she was caught in jail trying to profit off the case, doing interviews and then being paid for them, for the interviews. And she was paid for an interview, but as a result, it will mean likely no parole for Susan Smith. Holy moly, we're out of time. That's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. 6:58 clear and 38. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Farmers and builders, listen up. Purple Wave Auction is shaking up equipment sales. We're the no-reserve online auction powerhouse where every bid could be a win. From combines to cranes, tractors to excavators, if it has wheels or tracks, we've got it at purplewave.com. Purple Wave is your ticket to upgrade your operation. Join our nationwide buying community today and see why no reserve means maximum opportunity.
Hi, I'm Dean Karski, and I'd be honored to continue working for you as your Minnehaha County Commissioner. Minnehaha County is vibrant and growing, and I am proud to serve as your fiscal conservative on the County Commission. Together, we will continue to prioritize law enforcement, public safety, infrastructure, and smaller government. My commitment to serve runs deep. From 6 years in the United States Air Force, 36 years as a small business owner, and 8 years on the Minnehaha County Commission, where I am currently chair. I'm asking for your vote on November 5th.
Paid for by Karski for the Sioux Empire's interesting news talk station.
News and information update coming up fast. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
on 1320 KELO.
Thank you so much for letting me join you this morning. Please come back at 9:30 for the 4th hour of the Greg Belfrage Show today. Otherwise, I want to wish you a really wonderful weekend. Thanks so much. Take care. See you again soon.